Good morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. When you're joining me, please chime in and say hi so I know you're there. Hello, Roseanne. Thanks for joining me. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And I am coming to you live as I do each week. Sorry, my computer's being weird. At this time to share a project with you, and let's get started. Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining me. About 50 minutes ago, I was chatting with Nikki in Arizona and saying that I was working on coming up with something to do with you guys today. And she sent me a link to Patricia Dominici, I think is her name. And she had done a one-sheet wonder, a 6x6 one-sheet wonder that looked really quick, easy, interesting to make. So that's what I decided to do. Hello, Gladys. Thanks for joining me. Now, I'm not going to do it with this berry burst paper and coordinating stamp set because I do not actually own it. But I did decide to use this piece of Ornate Garden, which I really like. And you can see... Perhaps, yeah, you can see here she's used both sides of the paper when she's done hers, because our paper has two sides, but this side, this on hers, they happen to coordinate really, really well together and work well. This one, much less so. So I've pulled out another 6x6 piece of paper. This is just from our in-color paper stack. It's Bumblebee, which is the color of the dark yellow daisies. So what I'm going to do is set that aside to refer to later. And she has two templates. One is to cut out the piece of 6x6 DSP into pieces, and the other is to cut out a cardstock mat. And I'm actually going to cut this out twice because instead of flipping over pieces to use the other side, I'm going to use the second piece of paper. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer and get started with some cutting. And I may see if I can cut them at the same time. Hello, Renata. Thanks for joining me. Yeah. So let's see how we go. Scoring blade out of the way, move this where I can actually see it. So it looks like the first cut. So what I do is I find the cut across that I can do, and that's at 3 inches, because these are 6x6. And this paper actually started out as a 12x12, but I just cut it down. So 3 inches. And I am cutting both of them at once. And then this one is a 3x3. There we go. So now I have both of those. And some of the Bumblebee pattern paper I may not use, and that's just fine. I will save it for another project. 3x2 inches. And these get cut into 1-inch squares. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I like one-sheet wonders. I do them reasonably often. At least it seems that way to me. So there we go. There are the half of the paper, and then this one goes to 4 inches. So you can see here I can see that these are all going to cut at the same place. So that's 4 inches. And then there's a couple of them at 1/2 inch. It's easier to cut small pieces off a larger piece than trying to get that. If I cut the 2 1-inch pieces here, can you see that? Yep. If I cut these 2 1-inch pieces, then I'd be left trying to cut that 1-inch piece into 1/2 inch slices, and it's much easier to work with a slightly larger piece. So that's what I'm going to do. And there we go. Okay, so my designer series paper is all cut. And we'll just set those aside. And oh no, that's right, I have this 2x2. So this one gets cut into 2x2, and that leaves me with 2x1. There we go. Now that's all cut. Now I've got the matte piece, and that one she said to mat the 6x6, it's 6.5 by 6 3/4. So this is the 6 3/4. I need to figure out which way she's orienting it so I know where to cut. Three and 1/8. 1, 3 3/8. 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm just going to take my chance here. This one's a little harder because I'm dealing with fractions of inches, which I'm so glad I'm usually working in centimeters now. I will put a link, Gladys, to her blog post that has all of this, because it's really well done, and yeah, and she should get all the credit for it. So 3 1/8. 1 1/8 is 4 1/4, right? Okay, so 4 1/4. Oh no, that doesn't seem right. Because that's width. That's why 2 1/8 plus 1 1/8 is 3 1/4. That seems much more likely. Okay. So then this is going to be 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. There we go. That's right. And that's going to go with this one. And then 3 1/8 across by 2 1/8. Excuse me as I ponder out loud. 3 1/8. And then this is 1 1/8 by 1 1/8 all the way. 1 1/8 think that's quite right, but we'll cut new stuff if we need to. Okay. 4 1/8. 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4/8 is a half, and 5/8 is one more. And do it again. There's half, 5/8. And then again, 1 1/8. Okay, let's see what we got. Set that aside. And now I'm going to lay some stuff out to see if it looks like I've got the right things going. So here's the first one. Oh, I did it again. I forgot to cut this last piece. I'm like, oh, I'm done. No, I'm not. 2 1/8. 2 1/8. By 2 1/8. And then 2 1/8. By 1 1/8. Okay, let's see how we do. Okay, so for this card, we need these two pieces. Good. For this card, some of them number the cards and which pieces go with which card. This one's going to let me just kind of figure it out on my own, and that's fine. I think that's these two. And that. See, I could have done it all just with the same paper, but I think it's more interesting to have the contrast, so that's what we're doing. And I actually can make 2 sets because I could reverse it too. So I think that's for that one. This one, this is the one where I'm pretty sure they're not cut the right size actually, and we'll recut them. Yeah, I'm gonna bring in another little bit of scrap and we'll just cut exactly the right size. So these are supposed to be 1 1/8 square. Looks like I need a new blade because I'm getting some raggedy cuts. But we're just going to call it the look here. So there we go. 1, 2, 3 of that, and she actually used the same pattern. So that's for this one, and I may change that up. I may make that one a bumblebee. And then for this one was one of these. And one of these. Okay. And then number 5. This one. And this one. Okay. I think that one I would like to swap out. Okay, so now these are extra pieces. I could make another set different way. Now we're ready to start assembling and such. So this one, we're going to glue this together. Yeah, I like the contrast too, Joyce. And I see Nikki has joined us. Nikki, thank you for this idea for today. If anybody else has something they'd like to see, whether it's a layout or a particular product used or what have you, let me know. I'm happy to oblige. I'm always looking for ideas of things to make. I have some card bases made already. And that's going to be the panel that goes on. She has ribbon wrapped around. I pulled out this mint macaron I've got. Favorite little hack here. Oh, come on. There we go. She had it on there, and she put a sentiment. I pulled out some sentiments. I'm gonna do this one. I didn't pull out. This is from Healing Hugs. It's one of the sets that is retiring. And I've got Sending You Healing Vibes. I just have to figure out what color to stamp it in. I think it's going to be the mint macaron. If I don't like it, I can stamp again. It's going to do a test stamp, see how straight the stamp is. Oh, it's straight. That's always good. Get my paper straight. I love the grid paper. It just helps everything align. Go. That has dried out. think we'll do some dimensionals because there's not a whole lot more stuff going on here. See? So tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. Actually, tomorrow evening is going to be the most interesting part, probably. Noah is going to go get neutered tomorrow. They say they have plenty of his father's gene pool floating around their pack. They don't need any more, thank you very much. So, that's not straight at all. So I get to take him in first thing in the morning when he'll be really cranky because he won't have had any breakfast. Let's see how she has a bow on hers. Let me see how the bow ties in this. Yeah, I like that. Bring in a glue dot. Okay, and now I just need to glue this onto the card base. And there's one. So, number 2. This one. Yeah, Noah's off with Glenn at his office this morning. It seems to be Wednesday mornings works well for him to have him there. He and I did a walk around the Queen Vic Market yesterday. Had a good time. Went to the pet store there. Oh my goodness, I had the hardest time getting him out of that store. Everything just smelled so good. So when you're doing a one-sheet wonder, I think it's pretty important to pick a paper that's flexible in its orientation. This one has a little bit of an orientation, and ideally it would be kind of this way, but it works to go sideways. You have to kind of look at it pretty hard to tell. But if it's got a definite orientation, it can be hard. Yeah, he might be sleepy tomorrow night, Paula, but he's definitely going to be unhappy that he didn't have his breakfast and he only gets half a dinner, is what I've been told. So, you know, he's a true Labrador in that respect. He likes his food. So those are going to go on like so. And we're going to put a sentiment down there. I'm just picking out which one here. Now, if you are working in A4, you may discover that yours look and line up a little bit differently than her pictures since she's working in letter, but that's A-okay. I'm just gonna go with a brush there. I'm finding they still seem to work okay, which is good. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this right there. It's a birthday. So this is out of Here's a Card, which is a really versatile set, I think, but it is retiring. Now she's got bow going there. I'm just checking to see. At one point I had some mint macaron. Baker's fine, but I believe that is now gone. Okay. Okay. I'd be happy with that left as is, but you know, we're going to be happy with this too. Because 'tis the season for using up retiring supplies. And getting ready to post things for sale. So again, if you're in Australia and there are things that are retiring and you would like to own them, a lot of times I can make that happen for you. But only once they have retired. So. All three of your cats wanted to help you tonight, Joyce? Isn't that pleasant? So you guys probably noticed, I hope you noticed, I've got some new graphics going. And they coincide with my blog is actually, my website has actually changed. I'm on a new platform and new formats, and I hope you guys are liking them. They occasionally bring retiring products back. Let's see, what have I noticed over my last 10 years? So colors that retire, especially in colors, every 5 years or so, we get a color revamp or a color refresh, and quite often some of the in colors will come back as part of the regular color family. For instance, this mint macaron was an in color, and now it's part of our subtles color family. They brought back as a special promo a celebration stamp set this year that had retired, Hey Chick, to coordinate with the Hey Birthday Chick. She had a bow, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna tie a piece on. When they celebrated their 25th anniversary, they did a series of stamp sets called Best Of, and they were different themes, you know, best of flowers, best of whatevers, and those brought back individual images from best-selling stamp sets. So, but usually once something is gone, it's gone. go. And I'm going to stick a glue dot on the back of that ribbon. And then on the back of this bow. There we go. There's 2 done. What's number 3? It's the one with the little squares and this. Yeah, the Facebook groups, some people will pay outrageous prices and some people won't. eBay's pretty notorious for having prices that go crazy. The Facebook groups tend to be much more reasonable. When I was in the States, I just had a blanket rule that I sold stuff for half of retail. I'm finding in Australia, I can do about 70 to 75% of retail, and I'm getting most stuff sold. So that's cool. I possibly could have gotten that in the States. I just never tried. There's a lot more. There are many more demonstrators in the States than in Australia, so there's probably much more supply. So there are some things that are very, very popular, like the paper that she used on her samples. That was a paper that was only available in the larger purchase category in Celebration. And people really, really went nuts for that paper. And I had 2 packs of it unopened, and I just sold it yesterday for full price of what a pack of the full retail price of a pack of DSP here, through a Facebook group. And that's why I didn't open either pack, was because I knew that was going to be what I wound up doing with it. And that's fine by me, because I didn't. This one has room for an image. So I'm going to stamp that there, and I'm going to bring in. So on the Designer Series paper, all the flowers are done in early espresso. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do a test of that because that looks kind of splodgy. That's a technical term, splodgy. That may be over too far. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it is. I'm gonna turn that over. Try again. That's one of the, this is one of the ones where, so the letter size, sorry, on the letter size, this white panel would be a little bit wider and a little bit shorter. And so I need to go further over than she does with her image to have enough space to fit everything in. I think that's going to work better. Yes. And I'm just looking for another sentiment. This one says, and I've never used this one before, but it seems to work on this. It says, I can't begin to count all the times we've laughed together. And then on the inside it'll say, mostly because numbers are hard, which, if anybody knows me, if anyone just watched me trying to figure out how to cut up the paper with the fractions of inches, they'll know this is true. So. So one in the middle. Yeah, every time I go try to add these stupid inches and their fractions and whatever, I curse the people who decided we weren't going to adopt metric after all when I was in elementary school, because so many things would be so much easier if we just had. And I'm not even going to color that in. I thought I was going to, but I think I like it just as is. And again, I know I've said this on other videos, but I have a stash of basic white that is cut to this layer size. And in metric, that would be 10 by 14.4. And it just makes, I use it all the time. And it just makes it so easy to have it ready to go. So here's that, mostly because numbers are hard. I don't want to forget to have that in my card. So here we go. And I will put blank white ones in all of these before I consider them finished. What are we up to now? This one. Okay. I have to find all my pieces. There we go. A dot of bling. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so this one is doing like so. And like so. But actually like so. And then I think there's going to be a flower there and a sentiment across there. Whoops, that was close. Remember I saying I always clean them off because I'm likely to knock them over onto my work? Yeah. Okay, let's actually clean that off. And grab another stamp set or two. We'll do that. That's a happy birthday. There we go. Colored dot. Yes, this would make a cute gift set. I agree. Okay, let's get these glued on. Just some of that fuzz. I know you want something in there, in the middle of that flower. That's number 4. Let's see what we got for number 5 here. It's this one. That one's oriented the other way. That's fine. We can do that. Like so. Yeah, I'm glad I used this other piece of paper to give some contrast there. So it's like a 2-sheet wonder, I guess. But I can also, like I said, I can make another set of cards where this would be in the bumblebee and this piece would be in the flowers. Now, do a series of 3 flowers. Just the one and a sentiment, I think. I'm glad this is on Best Year, which is this one is carrying over, which I'm very happy about because I really like it and it will keep me from missing Here's a Card so much. So there's happy birthday to you. Oh, that's what I need for this. And we'll put the flower up above it. Oh, did you see what I did? I got that edge. Starting over. Don't rock the block. Don't rock the block. That's why they made 2 sides of every piece of paper, right? Especially white cardstock. Okay, so that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. So when you've got these fuzzy edges, I've got one of these very fine grit sanding blocks from the hardware store. And you can just run your paper the edge of your cardstock on there, and that takes off all the fuzzies. There's a little tip for you. So when I flip my cardstock over, I try to make it so that my boo-boo is on the side that's going to be covered up with something, and then it doesn't bleed through, which is really only a concern when it's very dark ink, like early espresso. So there we go. Now, Nikki really wants me to do something with these flowers. I know she does. So the reason I'm reluctant to put something very round in there is because they are so nicely asymmetrical. What do you guys think? I do really kind of like them just as they are. Very simple. Yes, a manicure sanding block or an emery board. Just one. I know you want just one. But I'm going to show you here. See, I've got that, but then it's so very, very round when this is not so very, very round. If I were to do anything, I might color the center with a blend. But again, I'm inclined to just leave them be. That's what I'm saying, and I'm sticking with it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, one more thought I had for these plain flowers. I could put what do you think? And it, believe it or not, it helps me when I look on the screen. I can see them better than, or see them differently than I do when I'm just looking right at them. And I hear a lot of stuff. No, okay. Inevitable. Whenever I ask, I get opposite opinions. But I like it without. Okay, I'm going to call it done. So that took me start to finish, including, well, I had some things pre-cut, but really start to finish, that was an hour, under an hour. to do it. So yeah, this is a great little project. If you're doing classes, I think it would work really well for a class. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Nikki, thank you again for sending this particular layout to me. And I will put a link to the website where all the cutting dimensions are, because this is quick and easy and fun. You're right, Paula, very fun. I will see you next week. It is the same time for me, but my clock changes. So it will be an hour off if you're in North America. And so I will have the link everywhere that I post about this. So double check your time if you're watching from someplace other than Australia. Or you'll have to catch it on the replay, but you can do. If you are puttering around any of my online sites, whether it's my Facebook page where I am right now, my Nancy's Nifty Notemakers Facebook group, or my new website, if you see anything that you don't think is working well, or that is absolutely wrong, or you would like to see something else that I don't have on there or presented differently, let me know, because I can do a lot of customization now that I couldn't before. And especially if you see something that is broken or wrong, please do let me know and I will fix it right away. I hope you like the new stuff that I've got out there. I'm really quite thrilled with that new logo. I actually got myself some new business cards with my new logo, which is, it just makes me happy. Yeah, I'm hoping you're enjoying the new stuff, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.